Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be part 2 of the Ford 8.8 Super rebuild. This part is going to be focusing on the assembly and finishing this thing up. Part 1 you've seen already. That was, well, hopefully you've seen it. If you're here learning how to rebuild this thing, probably should go back and watch that part 2. But we're going to focus on reassembling this and more detailed explanations of what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, things like that. So you are at the right place to learn how to do this job. If you're kind of up in the air on doing it or not, I might convince you to do it if you watch this video. So thanks for watching, thanks for visiting. Please subscribe, like the video, share the channel, ask questions. It's all good. So let's get going and finish this thing up. These nuts, this is the lock nut, and what you do is, after I have everything set, you bend these little notches, get 2 notches in there, you thread this down, and then when you get it set where you want it, you bend these into those notches and it locks it. So what I did, I got the old one right here, I just removed the whole rim right there and cleaned the threads out, and I ran it up and down, so it's no longer a lock nut. I'm going to use it for a setup nut, so it screws on it real nice. It's not hard. And then I'm going to go pull off the bearing. Actually, it's already off. I got the old bearing. It fits right here. I'm going to polish it out, the flappy wheel. It's a slip fit here. And then I showed you that one earlier. I bought another, a spare setup bearing right there. I'm going to flappy it out until it slips on there. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Alright, both bearings are polished out. So they slip on there. So still a pretty good fit, but no press. The presses, I took the press away. So those are my setup bearings right there. Alright, I sprayed everything out, wiped it out. Now I'm going to spray it again, wipe it again, and then blow it out with air one more time. See that little channel right there? And a bunch of crap where that axle tube is. Right here. There's a bunch of particles, metal, stuck in both of those. So I'm going to clean those one more time real good. And, yep, I mean, look how bad my hands. So that glitter, yeah, I'm gonna go wash up so I don't get splinters everywhere, but clean out these bores real good, clean out the tube. So one more time, one more spray down, one more wipe down, and I'm gonna call it pretty clean. Get all that wiped down, clean all those channels out right there. There's another one up there somewhere, yep, right there. You clean all those out. Alright, I got to start building my new pinion and get it assembled in the housing. So I got to press the old bearing off and see what kind of shim's behind there. And then I'm going to put that same shim amount in on my new pinion. So I got one of these deals. I had to cut the bearing off, the actual cage and rollers, and it exposed a little bit of a lip right there. I can get the puller on, pull that back off. That's why you use setup bearings when you're doing this, because you can't get them back apart once you put them together without destroying stuff. There's the bearing and cage I cut. There's the race I just pulled off, or pressed off. And I am after this shim. So that's the only reason I took all this apart. I need this shim. Now that I have that shim, I'll measure it. And I'm going to put that amount back in my new pinion and my setup bearing. And I'm going to start putting the races in the pinion area right next. I'm going to start doing that. They're in the freezer chilling right now. New pinion. I'm going to reuse the same shim I got shims, new ones, but they're all thin for minor movements if I got to make minor shim moves here. So that's where that goes. Make sure it's nice and clean. Here's my setup bearing. Here we go. It's on. I'll probably oil it up and slide it in there. Put the other bearing on. Put the yoke on. And put the nut on until I get around 18 inch-pounds of resistance. So that's going to be next. But next, real next, is I got to put these races in. So I'm going to put that one in and then one on the other side. So I'm going to start doing that next. All right, I got that race in. Just got a small punch. Did a little triangle pattern around little by little. And you got to make sure you got it all the way in. So come to the back side. And kind of just look around that shoulder all the way around. And you can tell the last hits, you just tap it real lightly so it doesn't bounce back out. So you can see I got it nice all the way around there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one in now. Same thing. That race is in. Same thing. Just worked around with a punch, nice and easy, nice and slow. You get to the very end, you'll feel it get real solid, and then just light taps around it, real light, just to make sure it's not rebounding or ricocheting or bouncing back out. You just feel that it's super solid. So I'll come to the back side. Oops. There you see it. Nice and tight against that shoulder. Okay, so that's the pinion bearing races are in. I'm going to go ahead and I got this guy's ready. I can put that in. Put the setup bearing on. Put the yoke on. Tighten that nut up. And I'll get my inch-pound tester and I'll feel it. And then that'll be mocked up, ready. Now, when I do the carrier, I'm not going to mount the ring gear yet because this is going to be in there. I don't want this getting in the way at all because I have to establish the shimming and preload on this guy. And I'll explain what that means. But basically when you put the other races on here, that distance has to fit inside of here against this face and this face, and that's where the shims go. And that kit came with a bunch of thin shims, and I got to make sure I put everything in there. It's got to be a little, you got to kind of push it in and tap the shims in with like the butt of a hammer, and it's kind of a feel thing. But you want a little bit of resistance on that carrier when it's in there. Once I establish the proper shims, I get the proper preload, then I can put the ring gear on, put everything back in real carefully, because I don't know where my backlash is yet. And I may have to wrap shims out of one side and put them in the other. I'm not going to take shims out, because my preload's my preload. That's my distance I got to maintain. I'll have to rob shims out of one side and put them in the other. So if my backlash is tight, if it's too far this way, the ring gear goes here, I'll have to take like 5/1000ths or whatever out of the side and put that 5/1000ths in that side. That'll maintain preload and shift everything that way, creating more backlash. That's just kind of the gist of it. So I'm going to go ahead and get that pinion in there, and then I'm going to work. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to put the pinion in yet. There's no reason to put that in right now. I'm going to put the carrier in and get my preload with no ring gear on it. It's just going to be lighter to do it without the ring gear. I don't need it yet. So I'm going to go ahead and start mocking that up. Alright, so you can use the old crush sleeve as your pressing deal. The right size. That's a little bit long. I didn't feel like dropping everything. So that's what I come up with. go. There. And she's down. Doesn't hurt to get a feeler gauge in there and check it. Okay, so I got the stock shim on this side with the bearing, and I already shoved this one up. All right, I added about, I don't know, 20-ish in there. I got like 265 thousandths, I think it is. Doesn't really matter what it is, but I had to not beat it in, but tap it in with the butt of the hammer. So I have my hammer right there. Use a rubber, and I drove them in there, and I could feel it all the way around. It's seated in there, and it's seated down, and it's in. Feels pretty good. I mean, there's no shaking it. So you want to make sure you don't just slip them in there, because that's not enough preload. It's not loading the bearings. You have to drive them in. Not like crazy drive them in, but there's some resistance in there. I didn't bend nothing. They just went in. It's kind of a feel thing. I can't even explain it. You do enough of them, you'll know. But don't beat them in, and don't slip them in by hand. It has to be somewhere in the middle. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put the cap on. Actually, I'm not. I'm pretty good with that preload. I'm gonna pull this shim out because it's solid shim. If my backlash, if I have to go back this way, I can't take nothing off of that solid shim. So I'm gonna use the new shims and put some various thin ones in there so I can rob and move things around. But well, I don't know. I might just check it where it's at. Now that I got my preload, I got my amount. I know what that thickness is. I know what that thickness is. I got plenty of shims it came with. Got plenty of shims, thin ones, thicker ones, so I can make up my shim pack, whatever I need to do to shift that whole carry unit side to side. So I'm probably just gonna go with it right there. Like I said, I have no idea where the backlash is yet, but preload on that is good. So I'm gonna pop that back out, put the pinion in, snug it up, put the ring gear on this guy, put it back in there, and we're gonna start checking some backlash. Well, actually, yeah, I gotta check backlash. I gotta make sure it's not too tight, and you don't want to damage the gear. You gotta make sure it's at least you got some shake in it. So as I'm putting that back in with the gear on it, I gotta make sure I don't bottom the gear out before it seats. So you gotta be real careful. Got the pinion in there with the mock-up bearings. It's only got about 10 inch-pounds of resistance right now, but this is not my final. So I do know it's seated. And now I'm gonna put the ring gear on the carrier. So I stoned off that surface real good. I stoned off this guy. Any little dings or anything, got them knocked down. I gotta make sure I line up the bolt holes, and then I'll start pressing it on, and then I'll try a couple bolts to make sure they line up before I send it home. Alright, I was able to just barely start a couple threads in the bolts and just kind of oriented the holes. And I brought it over here, put some aluminum underneath the teeth there. Made my little rig up right there and pressed her down. Bolt holes line up. Now I can get the right bolts in there and Loctite them and torque them down to proper torque specs, which I got to look that up. Alright, got her opened up all the way. I just checked the pinion gear bearings, and no slop in them. It actually feels really nice and smooth. But hear that? Yeah, I mean they're not slop or nothing like that. No sloppiness in them. Definitely got some contamination in them. So everything's screwed in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen the pinion nut and get this knocked out of here, and I'll start cleaning everything. Oh, I'm gonna knock out the axle bearings and seals. Gotta knock them out. So I gotta make sure I got a long enough bar here. Usually I just get a piece of black pipe or something, stick it through there, and catch the other end way down there. You can usually catch that shoulder down there. Oop, almost seen it. But oh, but that's the gist of it. Get all that apart and I'll get everything clean. Here is my yoke tool I made. As you can see right now, I just bolted it up to where the drive shaft bolts up. Got it locked in a leaf spring. And I don't want to use an impact. I don't have impact sockets, and I break this socket, I'm fucked. So let's get the breaker bar on there. I already broke it loose. Just pull it, and she's loose. I already broke my 15 millimeter taking the carrier bolts out. I exploded it. One hit of the trigger. And I've used the shit out of them. Must have been cracked from before. I don't want to get stuck with one I don't have. So, hand tools here on out, taking shit apart. I missed that part. But I'm not reusing my gear, opinion. So I just beat the end of it, BFH. And until it popped out of the yoke. They do make pullers to pull that off. Mine don't fit. So if you're trying to save your pinion, you don't want to beat the shit out of it like I just did, get yourself a puller to pull that yoke off. Alright, the axle seal. I just got my little punch in there. I punched all the way around the flange. Kept beating it in, and now it's pretty much got some movement in it. I just have to pry it now. Get behind there and pry it out. So the bearing, I don't know. I don't got a long enough piece to really get in there and get it out. So I'm going to inspect them. If they're okay, I'm leaving them in. Alright, I got it out. It was a pain in the ass. Glad I made that tool to put it back in. But, man, if you had a piece of this black pipe longer than the whole axle, you can stick it in there and work it around. The bigger the better. But I mean, just 2.5 inch is what you would need for it to clear and hit that bearing pretty good. I didn't have it. What I had is, got my jack handle. I got my precision collet holder for a CNC machine. That is no longer that. It's going to be a punch. And I just put it in the, put it through the hole. It fits. And I push it all the way in until it hit the bearing. Then I got a piece of black pipe I did have laying around, which is too short. But if I double them up, I put that one in first, up against that tool, and then put that one against the black one and beat it with a hammer. The whole works. It comes out. So I got that one out. I'm going to switch directions and start beating this one out. Both axle bearings and seals are out. All you got to do now is pull this seal out. Get that seal out, and I'm going to pound both of those inner races out, or outer races. The cups, whatever you want to call them. Get those pounded out of there. I'm ready to clean. Alright, got the bolts Loctited in, got them in. I'm going to torque them down to 40 and then 80. I can find all kinds of different torque specs on that, 60 to 75. I got 100. I'm just going to go 80. Alright, I went ahead and put the shim bearing cap on this side and I pushed it over. I didn't have any shim in this side yet. I just kind of held this bearing on, pushed it over by hand. I just kind of felt it, and I felt, hear that little backlash. So I know I'm not mashed. It's not this way too far where it's just bottomed out and no backlash. So before I did anything, I wanted to make sure I was pushed all the way over, and then I am. Then I got my shim pack and went ahead and put it in, and it went in real nice. Here's what I did. Got myself a nice little screwdriver, and I used this end against the shim and the hammer, and I just tapped it in. It was, I mean, not tight, not loose. It's just kind of like I didn't beat it to get it in there, but I had to persuade it to go in. And this, I mean, this carrier is not falling out, so it's not on its own, but I'm gonna go ahead and put both caps on, torque them down, and take a backlash reading. It's a little bit, to me, it's a little bit tight. It's probably about 6, but we'll see. All right. 4 thousandths. 4 thou backlash. That works pretty good because I got 6 thousandths shims in there on both sides. So if I want to loosen the backlash up to about 10. So it's 4 now. I want to go this way. So I'm going to take 6 thousandths out of this side and stick it in that side. That'll shift it over, and I should have 10. So we're going to try that. As soon as I get that swapped over, get that backlash at 10, I'll go ahead and start taking a pattern check. Make sure that pinion depth is where I want it. And it should be pretty good. We're going to see, but going together pretty well so far. I just want you to see this. I got that cap is snug down, shims are in. I moved 6 from here, put 6 thousandths over here. Everything should have came over. Got this pack. See, the preload didn't change. I still have the same amount of shims. I just took from one side, put it in the other. Didn't change nothing except for the position of everything. So I'm going to show you how I knock these in, about how hard. See, I didn't beat the shit out of it, but yet it's snug. It's pretty snug. Wait till I put that cap on. We're going to have 10. Watch. Everything's torqued. Now, 7 to 10 is what you shoot for in these. Seven and a half. Calling that good, almost 8. Yeah, pretty much 8. 8 thousandths. We're gonna put the other indicator on and check it with that one. Okay, now this indicator, a little trickier, but you want to keep it pretty straight with the way that tooth's going. You know, you don't want it at a big angle or nothing like that. So I got it set pretty good. 8 thousandths on there too. So it doesn't matter which one you use. I like the other one better. It's a little more accurate. 8 thousandths. So it doesn't really matter right now a whole lot. I just want to be in a ballpark. Now I'm going to do a pattern. We're going to put the marking compound on there and check the pinion depth. Alright, did about half dozen teeth. Put the marking compound on there. Don't gotta go real heavy with it. Both sides, just make sure you cover it pretty good. Now, I'm going to hold resistance with my hand on this carrier as I turn the pinion. I'm going to go both directions, but I'm going to hold resistance on the driven gear, which would be this side, as I turn the yoke on the other side. I'm going to go one direction and then the other direction beyond the teeth. And I want to see what is transferred to the other teeth. A lot of people read what happens here, which you can, but I like reading the transfer onto the other teeth. Gives you a better idea. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick and see what it looks like. Other way. Just holding my right hand here. Hold resistance on it. Okay. Okay, that's what it looks like. Didn't transfer very well. not transferring to the other teeth, so I'm going to read the teeth that I pasted up. A couple times around. Okay, I'm going to read it. All right. All right, there's that side. Actually pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Back side. Look at that, right in the center. That's what you want. You don't want it way up here, you don't want it way down there. So that gear's right in the middle where you want it. And this side, same thing. See that? It's not hitting way down there, it's not hitting way up here. It's nice contact. That's pretty good. That pinion depth is good. Backlash is good. I got first try, second try in a backlash. All right. That's good news. Oh, that's good news. Now I'm going to tear it all back apart, put my real bearings on that pinion, press them on, put it back together, everything the same way, and I'll do another check on the backlash, and everything should be good to go. So I'm going to do that next. There's a transfer I was talking about. You see it better. It's pretty good. I am happy with that. Look at that, pretty even, nice and even. All right, putting these guys in. Made my nice little deal here. Actually, for the seal. This is the right one. That's it. That's in. Same thing for the seal. Put it on there. Oh, I need the right one. All right, make sure you put the right seal in there. I had the wrong seal. Okay, but anyways. That's nice. A little bit there. There we go. She's in. All right, got that bearing pressed on. That's the good bearing. It's pressed on. Here's my crush collar. That goes on there now. Got the other bearing out. Everything's out. Now I'm gonna go ahead and wipe down the pan surface while I got everything apart. But I'm ready to throw that guy back in there. Put the other bearing on. I gotta use the yoke to kind of pull that bearing on. Then I gotta take the yoke back off. Put the seal in the housing. Put the yoke back on and do my final inch-pound torque. So it's I gotta crush this collar. Well, what happens is the other bearing, say it's this one, but it's not this one. It's the setup bearing. When you tighten everything, shit. Okay, when you, well, it was backwards, but like that. Now when I put the yoke on there, when I put the yoke on, it's gonna tighten this, the inner race against the inner race, and crush this collar until I get the right amount of drag on these bearings. I'm shooting for about 18 inch-pounds. And then it's all set. So that's what I'm gonna do next. All right, next morning, I tell you what, got my little tool there, goes against the leaf spring. I use that breaker bar, just a 1/2 inch breaker bar. The socket's a 12 point, and I can't get enough torque on that thing to crush that collar. So just went to my Menards, got me a 3/4 inch breaker bar, and I bought an impact socket. Oop, I got a deep well and a regular one, 6 point, 3/4 drive. And I'm gonna wrench on this sucker and try to get her tightened down, so hopefully it works. All right, well, I put that breaker bar on there, tightened it, and I only got it so tight, I still had some end play in this damn thing. I could not get it any tighter. So I just took the nut back off, took the yoke back off. There is a washer that goes behind the yoke, between the yoke and the bearing. I didn't put it in yet because I was going to pull everything back apart, put the seal in, and then put that in. I figured maybe it ran out of travel, but it didn't. The nut, this is the old nut, the face was going up, so it was just friction. So I faced it, got it all nice and smooth again, lubed it up. So my lesson here is make sure you put some kind of lubricant, oil, grease, whatever, just something on the faces and threads when you're doing this final torque to take any friction off of that so this thing tightens. So I did that, put it all back together, oiled it up, put that big breaker bar on there. Now I got it to where I got no play, and I'm going for my final, well, no, not final torque yet. I just got it to this point where I know it's in. All I gotta do now is tighten it up just a little bit to get that inch-pounds of resistance on the bearings. So I'm gonna pop this old nut off, get all this shit off of here, and I'm going to put the seal in, and I'm gonna get the original, the new nut, the lock nut, put it on, and get my final torque. And I'll show you how to use the inch-pound tester when I get to that point. So that's next. What a pain in the ass, man. Those crush collars are a pain in the ass. Just be prepared. Make sure you got a bailout plan. Make sure you got big wrenches and all that. All right, now that I got the proper nut on here, I got no slop in this thing, but there's not very much resistance. So how much is there? Just get yourself one of these. It's just a inch pounds. This is an inch pounds, and it's a needle type, as you can see. And I'm looking for, 18 to 20-ish, somewhere around there. And right now I got nothing. So I basically just got my adapters here and an 1/8" socket for this particular application. And let's put it on there and pull it and read it. And that says about 2.5 inch pounds. There is nothing on it right now, which I do. Because you can't, once you go too far, you really can't back it up because the crush collar crushed already. It's already loading the inner races. And that's how I want to do it. You got to keep tightening slowly little by little until you get that resistance. So now I'm going to put everything back on there, get my breaker bar, give it just a little bit more. I'm just going to go until I feel it move, the nut move a little bit, take it back apart, nor my wrench off of here, and check it again. So I'm going to keep doing that. All right, I got the custom wrench I made on there. Got my big freaking breaker bar. Now I'm just going to give it, I'll feel the nut move, and I'm going to take it back apart and check it again. Okay. Yeah, I got a little bit on there now. I can feel it. I can't check it with this on there. It's going to throw it off, but I can feel some drag now. Okay. Yeah, Now I got some drag. Not enough. 10. Yeah, about 10. A little more. Well, this feels good. All right, we'll tighten her a little more. I like how it feels now. I'll show you. The other way. Right there. It says 16 to 30. 16 to 30 inch-pounds of resistance on that. That's about 18, 20 with my cheap-ass wrench. And I just like the way it feels. So I'm going with that. Yeah, it feels really nice. Takes a little bit of resistance. So smooth, no noise. Oh, man. Nice. Bearings feel still nice and they're brand new. 30, I think would be too much. So 18, 20, you're good. So, all right, now back to the carrier. I'm gonna get that back in there. I'm gonna take a final backlash reading now that everything's tight, and button this sucker up. Oh yeah, and I didn't show it, but I did knock the seal in, and I put that little washer behind the yoke and the bearing, so that's all in there. Like I said, the final nut is on there. Now I do have to do this. Important note. Let me flip it around. Okay, now you see those little keyways, not really keyways, but cutouts in the shaft. Now I gotta get a punch right here and punch this over now that I'm happy with where everything is. And punch this over, and that's your locking mechanism. So I want to do that next. All right, there they are. Just knocked them in. So that locks it on there. That's all you gotta do. Got the carrier in for the last time. Bolts are torqued. It says 60. I'm gonna relook at that. It don't seem like enough, but you gotta be careful. It says 60. I'm at 60. I did take because as I rotated this before, the other backlash, it was at 8. And actually it went to 10 just by rotating it a few times. I knocked the axle bearings in, so there was a little bit of shock going on, and it went to 10, which is fine. But I had it apart. I took a 6 thousandths out of this side, and I put a 7 thousandths in. Didn't change this side at all. It just basically, by doing that, I put 1 more thousandth of preload on it, which it could use, and it shifted it over a little bit. Now everything's torqued. Good angle. 7.5. I like that. So 7.5 backlash. Pattern shouldn't have changed, but I'm gonna go ahead and run it around again, but nothing changed there, so I didn't change anything to change that. So, I mean, I did change the bearing, but the stack height earlier in the video is the same. As the setup bearing to this bearing, same thing. So, nothing should have changed there. So now, I'm gonna pull the pin, get my axles put in there, C-clips in there, and I think it's ready. Put the cover on and fill her up. All right, there's the final pattern. That's the drive side there. And there's the coast side down there. I mean, that's beautiful. Beautiful. I'm totally happy with that. After running it around a little bit, it feels like a backlash settled in a little bit more. I'm gonna double check it. It feels more like 910 right there, but let me get the indicator on there and see if it changed. One more check. I mean, it's 8, maybe 8. It didn't change. All right. I am happy with that. All right, before I put the axles in, I just got a little bit of gear lube. Put it in that bearing. Give her a little spin. The seal already has its own lube in there. I cleaned the axle, got it all wiped down. I cleaned that, whatever, that reluctor ring, whatever. I just kind of ran some sandpaper over it, got all the rust off it. And I'm going to stick her in. Be careful not to scuff the seal. Nice and easy. Okay, now you hit the differential. Oh, I did pull the pin out of the new differential because you couldn't get the C-clips in. So the pin's pulled. All I can do now is line my spline up and get it in there so it's a little feel. There it is. That's it. Put my C-clips in, pan on, and I think that is it. Not that hard of a job. I mean, if you're mechanically inclined, it's not that bad. It's really not. I've done quite a few of these in my old race car I had back in the 90s. I blew up a lot of them. It was a 7.5-inch GM and a 500 horsepower street car. And yeah, with a little nitrous on it. It didn't like it. So I blew gears up, axles, all kinds of shit. So I was always putting new parts in it. But my friend, his dad, he ain't with us anymore, but he taught us how to set these up years ago. And I remember everything he showed us and kind of applied it to this one. And they're the same as they were 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, whatever. They're pretty much all the same. So, all right, let's button this thing up and I'm going deer hunting tonight. All right, both axles are pushed in. Get that C-clip in. Now that it's in, I'm going to pull the axle back out. Boom. It's in. Grab the other C-clip. Doesn't really matter which way, but that's in. Pull the axle out. Boom. All right, now I put the pin back in. It is right there. That's going. Should be. What the heck? Well, you seeing that, you should not have to pound that pin in. I thought maybe it was just a little drag on there. No. It was hitting the axles. I had the axles out as far as they would go, and that pin would not pass between them. So I pulled it out, pulled the axles back out, and you can see the witness mark where the pin was rubbing. So I just sanded the ends of the axles a little bit with my disc sander and tried it again. Now it goes. So somebody missed their tolerance somewhere a little bit. So, I mean, it was probably 30 thousandths, 15 thousandths an axle. So it's in, it's tight. I'm putting this pan on and I'm getting this thing buttoned up. I'm starting to get aggravated, but that shouldn't happen. Stupid shit. Always stupid shit. Always. These pans do not require a gasket. I just use RTV black. Right there. Permatex. I'll put a thin layer on there, the whole entire thing, and I'm going to bolt it on, and it's not going to leak. All sealed up. Got my clips back in place. Everything looks good. Here's what I like though. Check this out. Okay, I'm going to spin this thing this direction. Okay. Keep in mind which way this wheel's turning. Okay, going that way, like it's going backwards. Go over here to this side. Oh, it's going backwards too. That's posi, baby. Posi. All right. Quick Performance said, put this stuff in first. This limited slip friction modifier. It's for the clutches. So this, act like a full spool. It gives it a little lubricity in the clutch packs and lets them break in, so it acts like a limited slip. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour this in. I ain't got much of a funnel. I have to angle that thing a little bit upward and pour it in, and this takes like 2.7 quarts of oil. So I just bought 3. And I'll pour it in until it comes out of that hole, seal her up, hook the drive shaft up, put the brakes back on, wheels back on, and go for a test run. Took 2.5 quarts. I'm gonna seal that deal up and get this thing on the road. Ooh, good news. I'm driving it. So, I was putting the brakes back on, last bolt, the last caliper bolt, and I noticed the caliper pin wasn't moving, so it broke. I tried moving it, it broke. I had to go hurry up, find one, and put a new caliper bracket on, but here I am. I'm driving it right now. It says 15 to 20 miles, kind of easy, and let it cool, and then kind of be easy on it for the first, I don't know, 500 miles. So here we go. We're going on the highway right now. Wow, it's quiet. Yeah, it's quiet. I hear my tires now. Coast. Oh yeah, I should be singing right now normally. All right. Now it does it. So hopefully, if you're watching this video, you guys think you can do this job yourself. It's not that bad. A couple snags here and there, but not that. All right, I've been driving it for a couple days. 200 miles on it, and all seems good. I mean, there's a slight, all cars you can slightly hear noises when they roll. I mean, I got normal stuff like that, but no whining, no humming. It's just nice. I hear other shit now. Other things that aren't gears, but it's all right. So you want to break these in. You want to do like 3 or 4 heat cycles. It doesn't really say 3 or 4. It just says get it up to temperature, let it cool down, and then put 500 miles on it, and then change the fluid, because things are breaking in, and you just need to change the fluid after 500 miles. Don't drive it too hard. The first 500, kind of moderate. So my first heat cycle was about 10-12 miles, just county roads, and the fastest I got was like 50. Got home, and I measured the temperature, and the hottest point on the whole entire rear end was 138 degrees. Other places were like a little over 100, right at 100. The pan was like, I think, 130. That's not bad. It's not bad. I let it cool. Then I went hunting that night. That was another like 30 miles drive one way. So I got to drive it to hunting, kind of easy to moderate. And then it sat while I hunted for a few hours. So it cooled off again. Then I drove back home. Same thing, 30-something miles, and let it cool. And now I've been to work and back one time. So I got on a highway, freaking 8094 hellhole in Indiana here. And I try to keep it under 70. A couple times I was at 75 briefly. Went back down to 65. So 65 to 75 on the way to work. Cool off. On the way home, cool off. And here I am, just going to my local Menards. And I'm doing 50 right now, and it's quiet. Quiet as can be. So make sure you break them in. That's it. So if you made it this long, thanks for watching. I know it's a lengthy video, but this is not a, simple little process. So hopefully I hit everything on the video. If not, put it down in the comments. Ask me, I can help you out. Comment, share the channel, subscribe. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.